It feels like every time we turn around, there's a new crisis in the Middle East.
It's true.
And it's hard to know where to even begin.
Absolutely.
But the excerpts you all have sent in, focusing on this recent escalation, it's clear this isn't just headlines.
Oh.
These are real people
Yeah.
caught in a truly terrifying situation.
It is a terrifying situation.
So I think it's time we do what we do best.
Absolutely.
Take a deep dive into understanding what's happening and why should we even care about this?
Right.
Well, I think that the thing that's so striking about this particular crisis is the way that it began.
Yeah.
This wasn't some, slow buildup of tensions.
Right.
It was like someone just flipped a switch.
Yes.
And all of a sudden.
Yeah. Hamas launched this massive coordinated attack on Israel.
Right. In early October.
Early October.
And we're talking ground incursions, rocket barrages.
The whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah. And I think it feels like
it's important
Go ahead.
kind of touch on Hamas's background here.
Yeah.
It's those who might not be as familiar.
Right.
But, their aim, from what we can tell, was to inflict as much damage as possible and just sow chaos.
Right.
It was a gamble.
A calculated gamble.
A calculated gamble, for sure.
Yeah, and the consequences have been just devastating.
Absolutely devastating.
It's really hard to even wrap your head around the scale of this.
Yeah.
The images that are coming out of this region are just gut-wrenching.
They are.
I mean, thousands of civilians caught in the crossfire on both sides.
Yes.
And the humanitarian situation is spiraling.
It's spiraling rapidly. And that's where it gets even more complex.
Yeah.
Providing aid in a conflict zone is always a logistical nightmare.
Always.
But in this case, it's even worse.
Right.
Because of the deep political divisions and the density of the population in Gaza.
Right.
So the UN is trying to coordinate relief efforts.
Right.
But they're facing just challenge after challenge.
Access is strict as supplies are dwindling. The risk to aid workers is incredibly high.
It's a race against time.
It's a race against time.
To prevent an even greater catastrophe.
Yes.
And all of this is playing out on a global stage.
It is.
This isn't just a regional conflict anymore.
Nope.
It's sending shockwaves through international relations.
It really is.
Like, how so?
Well, the U.S. and Europe in particular are walking this tightrope.
Yeah.
On the one hand, they have these long-standing alliances.
Right.
And commitments to both sides.
Right.
But on the other hand, there's this immense pressure to condemn the violence,
right,
call for restraint, and find some path.
Some path towards de-escalation?
Yes.
But it's hard.
It's really a test of their diplomatic skills and their influence.
Yeah, because some people are saying, hey, we need a more hands-on approach.
Right.
And then others are saying, no, we need to be more cautious to avoid inflaming the situation further.
Yeah, it's a real dilemma.
It's a real dilemma.
It is.
I was looking back over some of the things that you sent me,
Right.
and I think it's so easy to get lost in the immediacy of this crisis.
It really is.
But you were talking about the historical context of this conflict.
Right.
Like, how far back does this go?
Well, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It goes back decades.
Decades.
Decades of territorial disputes, political ideologies, broken promises.
It's created this tinderbox.
A tinderbox in the region.
So this isn't just about what's happened in the past few weeks.
Right.
This is about generations.
Generations of resentment.
Mistrust, unresolved grievances.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, as we're going through all of this,
Yeah.
what's jumping out at you from the material you provided?
Honestly, it's the human stories.
Oh.
It's so easy to get bogged down in the geopolitical analysis and the political maneuvering and, all that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is about families being torn apart, lives lost, futures that are uncertain.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable.
It is.
To see the resilience of the people in the face of such adversity.
Yeah.
But the cost is immeasurable.
The cost is immeasurable.
It is.
And I think it's something that we need to keep in mind
Absolutely.
as we try to make sense of this.
Yes.
It's a human tragedy that's unfolding.
It is a human tragedy.
And so even if somehow, some way,
Right.
a ceasefire is reached, what then?
Yeah. What happens then? How do you begin to heal those wounds and rebuild trust and address the underlying issues that led to this explosion of violence?
That's a really
It's a long road ahead.
long road ahead.
It is.
The Middle East has seen conflict after conflict,
It has.
but this one feels different.
It does.
It feels like we're at a turning point. And the choices that are made in the coming weeks and months could have far-reaching consequences.
They really could.
Wow, what a powerful thought.
Well, I hope that that is something that our listeners will ponder as well. How will this crisis reshape alliances and international relations in the years to come? How will this impact the global economy,
Right.
the fight against terrorism, the balance of power in the region?
That is a lot to consider.
It's a lot, but it's essential that we stay informed, that we stay engaged and committed to seeking peaceful
I
solutions.
think you're absolutely right.
I think so too.
This deep dive has been intense, but knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
And the more we understand about this situation, the better equipped we are to navigate this complex world.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for this insightful conversation.
Thank you.
And to all of you listening, keep those excerpts coming, and we'll deep dive into them right here on the show.
Sounds good.
Until next time.
See ya.